What's up, campers? If you couldn't tell, this is a very unique episode of Camp Strange. Not only because there's no intro or outro music, but because once again, David is not here. We're thinking of switching his name to David the Coward because he just can't show up on time. Because if you guys couldn't tell, he's still over in the lovely state of Montana with his lady, and they're just hiking the wilderness where there's no signal or messaging or intros or outros to help me out with, and I can't find them. So looks like the post is going up raw. You guys are getting it. You guys are getting it raw. Jesus, you guys are getting the raw episode today, uncut. But I do have my audience here today in the form of my lovely girlfriend Katie.
Hi, everybody.
And we are going to be doing something a little bit different because we're sticking with the news stories, but then I'm just going to be reading a story. So it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but my story is lengthy, so I think we're going to have enough time to cover, as you can see from the timestamp here. I'm going to guess around the 45-minute mark, not the hour and a half that we usually do, and you guys are probably too tired for that. So, I guess we'll just... I gotta do the intro.
You gotta do the intro.
I gotta do the intro. What's up, campers? Welcome back to another episode 140. Oh, I'll do it again. What's up, campers? Welcome back to episode 145 of Camp Strange. I'm your host, Alex. I'm your camp counselor, Alex Tobin.
And I'm the visiting camp counselor, Katie.
She's the parent that gets to show up at the camp because she's overprotective. And we spooky, wacky, weird, strange, and Portuguese.
Nailed it.
Thank you. And before we get into the longer stories today, we got to catch you up on any of the weird news you may have missed. And I'm going to let Katie start this one off.
So my first news story here is...
I need to get the charger, too. Keep going.
is South Carolina man gave child a face tattoo at a McDonald's, police say.
Oh, Katie.
Did you already do this one?
We covered that.
You got me. I'm not a listener.
She's not a listener, guys. She hears enough of me.
All right, well then take two.
Okay, here we go.
How about this one? No, this was 11 hours ago, so this one's new.
Well, we always say this about weird news. It recycles itself. We always say that.
This one, if any of you guys have seen I Think You Should Leave, this one gave me a little bit of vibes from season 2.
Okay.
As Georgia man steals mortuary van, dead body rolls out ahead of police chase.
Coffin flop.
Very coffin flop vibes.
Okay.
The body was okay, for anybody wondering.
What's dead?
It was on like a gurney, a stretcher situation.
What's defined as okay?
I think it was strapped in.
It came back to life when it fell out of the car.
I don't know. They just said it was fine.
No, but I'm kind of curious. Like, if you do dead bodies do they get road rash, or are they just like hard leather bound books where they're kind of fine still? You know, like leather, like motorcycle guys wear leather jackets. Is like a dead body. Like if I had to let's just say. Okay, I love this idea for a movie. I'm stealing a mortuary van. There's a bomb in the front. I gotta get out real quick. I can't drop below the speed of 65 miles per hour. I put a brick on the pedal. I open the back door. I grab a dead body and I surf on the road out of the vehicle as it blows up behind me. And the dead body is just like sparking metal and stuff like that. You get it? You get what you get the picture I'm painting right here?
I get it, but this one was on a gurney.
So even more sparks. I love that. You could ride the gurney off.
Yeah, but I don't think those wheels would hold up at 65.
Yeah, I guess they do have. You know what? I'm picturing a funeral car, a hearse. I'm picturing a hearse, not a mortuary van. I'm a little bit more classier than you mortuary vans with your body bags. I'm in a coffin. I'm dressed in a suit. You know how I be.
Yeah. Anyways, this body rolled out of the open back hatch and into the parking lot where it came to rest. But not its final resting place.
Okay, that's, yeah.
Anyway, the guy that stole the van, he's still out on the loose, so look out for him.
What? Are you serious? They didn't catch him?
They didn't catch him. This is from 11 hours ago. It says that...
Holy
where'd it
shit.
go?
I mean,
Okay.
how do you just steal a morgue van and nobody's like, yeah, I
So
don't
yeah,
see a morgue
he
van.
fled the van and ran into a nearby wood line. I guess like a forest situation.
A tree line.
And police searched the area but were unable to find him.
Okay, so he's on foot. So they found the van. That was my big thing. I was like, I feel like you
Yeah.
can't not find the van, but that
Right.
makes sense. Pretty cool. Sucks for that family. And the dead person, it doesn't matter. You're dead. You don't know what's going on, but it just it's kind of disrespectful, I guess, just to come flying out of a car like that. Hope they weren't naked with the blue butt. You know? Coffin flop. Come on.
Blue butt?
They got blue butts.
Oh, I guess I missed that line.
Oh, God. I have another story. As TikTok doctor explains why sneakers filled with human feet keep washing up on the beaches in the Pacific Northwest.
What?
So I had to read this. So apparently since 2007, at least 20 human feet in sneakers have washed up on the coastline of the Pacific Northwest. And there, I feel like I might have read something about this a while back because it has been since 2007.
Oh, did you read it on the podcast? Because
You know what? I don't remember, but it bears for retelling because it's so interesting. So basically what happens is everyone thought that there's a serial killer with some foot fetish. And I was like, if a serial killer has a foot fetish, you find the body with no feet on it. I don't really get what you guys are talking
it'd be like
about.
a foot phobia.
Yeah, foot phobia. There we go. Pro-murder, anti-foot. But they thought maybe, it was some sort of mob thing, like some mob thing cutting off the feet or something like that. No one really knew. But apparently what happens is when a human corpse falls into the ocean, these bottom feeder type animals, they call them scavengers. They're also considered lazy feeders. They prefer to tackle and attack. Geez, why they put that? They prefer to attack the softer parts of the body rather than the tough grisly bits. And apparently, the softest parts of the human body are the tissue and ligaments around the ankles and the wrists. And now I'm like feeling my wrists. I guess that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I get. It's pretty thin skin right there. If you feel your wrist, pretty thin. I bet like these little munchers can just chow down on there. And apparently what happens is when they go for the wrists and the ankles, the feet and hands detach pretty quickly from the rest of the body. And usually what would happen is that the hands and the feet would sink to the bottom of the ocean, just like, the only reason that a body floats is because it's full of gas and all that stuff starts expanding, you bloat and all that fun stuff. Kind of gross. Sorry, guys. Good morning. But apparently due to the new technology and all these sneakers, and we're talking Pacific Northwest, that's Nike headquarter, baby. I bet a lot of them are Nike. I'm not saying they are. I'm just guessing. But apparently, yeah, the shoes float with the feet still inside, and the rest of the parts of the bodies get eaten and stuff. But I was like, why are there still so many feet in the ocean? And apparently, British Columbia Coroner Service has ruled out foul play in all investigations into Canadian human foot discoveries. None of the feet showed signs of trauma, and all of the individuals appeared to have died by suicide or been killed in an accident, the coroner says. Pretty interesting, huh?
What a story, like maybe, something happens, one thing leads to another, you're in the ocean, rest in peace, and then your feet show up on shore.
Well, I'm just kind of thinking about, I think this made pretty big news, especially in like the TikTok world, of those two girls that found the dead guy who had committed suicide, and they took his chain off him and were like wearing it, and then they posted about it on TikTok, and they took a video of them taking the chain on Snapchat. And I'm just thinking, I feel like somebody might find a foot, but you gotta find both the shoes.
Yeah, and what are the odds of that they just like stay together? It's got to be like just one. You can't just be finding pairs of these.
You can't. Yeah, you're
unless they had like the shoelaces tied together. Maybe that's how they.
That's how you commit suicide.
You just tie your shoes together,
and then I jump off, and then I trip off the cliff. How funny is that?
Also, I noticed that you.
I make it a funny bit. I go whoa whoa, and then I fall off the cliff. It's real fun. It's a good time. Also, what's worse than wet shoes? No one wants to take those. They're fucking wet.
But also, I noticed you said that there was like these were in Canada.
No, Pacific Northwest, so Canada, Oregon. You know how the ocean don't have a border.
Okay, you said Canada earlier. So.
Yeah, well, I consider that Pacific Northwest because Alaska is kind of on that.
But then maybe they're not wearing Nikes.
They said they found some boots. So I'm guessing like fisherman boots,
Yeah.
But then like a fisherman boot goes up to the knee. You getting a whole leg in there?
Oh, but then it wouldn't come off because they're biting the ankles.
But like it's pretty soft around the knee part, right? I bet like if you can't go for the ankle, but the boot's big at the top.
You said wrist and ankle. Okay, you can't change your story just to fit your hypothesis.
I'm gonna go get a big boot. I'm gonna fill it with piranha and see if they can get to my ankle. Okay. I think that they're not gonna go for that, as they say, tough grizzly bits, which is so gross. Isn't it also gross that a fish? Okay, I don't know if it's a fish, but a lazy feeder, whatever that is, ate part of this human, and then like somebody caught that thing and was like, "This is good lobster."
Ew.
I mean, that shit happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a very funny scene in the movie Wilderness that I love, where the piranha eat their tour guide, and then to get payback, they catch all the piranha and they kill the piranha, and then they eat the piranha, and they're crying and eating them, and they're like, "You bastards, we're eating this for Chuck," and they're like, "Wait, if the fish ate Chuck and we're eating the fish," and they also throw it up and spit it out. It's a fun time. But I digress. Please continue to your next story.
Of course. So this one, the headline is "Frogs with Rude Name Go on Display at Zoo to Save Them from Extinction."
Whoa. Okay. Is the rude name was what's saving them from extinction, or the fact that they're going on display at the zoo?
Going on display at the zoo. I once learned at an animal rescue that the way to save animals from going extinct is to have a purpose for them. So I don't know if this is connecting. I guess the purpose at a zoo is so that they can kind of be entertainment a little bit.
Wait, does the animal get purpose? Who gets purpose?
Basically, they said that like cows and pigs and things that people eat or use.
It makes you more conscious that they are animals and not just a byproduct.
Yeah,
I don't like frog very much. French people do.
They do.
They do. And there's a restaurant close. Let's go. Let's try them. They might be good.
So these frogs
French.
in this zoo are actually in the UK. So kind of close.
Okay.
So some of maybe if you got any UK listeners,
3.
You can I don't actually know what zoo it's at. So sorry about that.
But do we know their rude ass name?
Yes, I'm getting there.
You have me on the edge of my seat.
So, they have some wrinkly skin.
Oh, they're ballsack frogs.
They are called scrotum frogs.
Oh my god!
And,
yes.
It's the Chester Zoo in the UK that they're on display, and they're originally called the Lake Titicaca frogs. So it's really a twofer.
Oh no, the scrotum Titicaca frog.
Yeah, I can't really get worse than that.
That's amazing.
Anyway, they also have a picture in this
Why
article.
Are they mating?
It says here are two having a cuddle, but they're clearly mating.
Oh, they're not. Oh, they're pretty cool looking.
They are actually.
That looks like a drawing or like a cartoon frog.
They're weird.
So look, guys, look up the scrotum frog. Hold the frog. Am I right? No, just like definitely type in frog. You're gonna ruin your morning. Okay, next on the story block, we got, speaking of zoo stories, Belgian woman banned from zoo claims to have had affair with chimpanzee.
Just like a zoo goer? Just a visitor?
So, here's the thing. It's kind of sad, but it's funny.
No.
It's just more interesting than anything. But this lady, 80 Timmersman, I think this is also in the UK. Yeah, it is in the UK, I believe. Oh, Belgium. I just said it's in.
Yeah, you did.
Jesus Christ. So, but basically she would drop by the Antwerp Zoo on a weekly basis for the sake of seeing Cheetah, a 38-year-old chimp who calls the zoo home. and apparently she would show up and just like she's been going there for 4 years, and what she usually just does, obviously they draw you in with the title, but she just waving and blowing kisses and just like that kind of thing with the chimp, just like not like David Stokes type shit, because if we found out that David Stokes got into the zoo and had an affair, like we all know that everyone's day is ruined, like the monkey, David's day is not ruined, but everyone else, the zoo
when he gets banned, yeah.
The zoo cleaners, yeah, exactly. After he gets banned, then he's no purpose. So, but and everyone's like, why is this so harmless? Why is the zoo beefing with her and stuff like that? Why are they kicking her out? And they said when Cheetah is constantly surrounded by visitors, the other monkeys ignore him and don't consider him part of the group, even though it's important for him. And that apparently he sits on his own outside of visiting hours. So basically it's ruining his relationship with the other chimps because this lady shows up and is like giving him all this attention and he loves it so much. But it's so sad because she just says, I love that animal and he loves me. I haven't got anything else. Why do they want to take that away?
Yeah, like why is she, like if there's a bunch of visitors there all the time, is it just because she tends to get the attention of this little guy or
this
little girl?
this is
Cheetah? Do we know?
Little girl is a boy, 38-year-old boy.
Oh, okay.
So he's not little.
Man.
He's older than you.
And you.
Not me.
Barely.
Not David. But but basically it's just kind of like that whole idea of like if you love something you gotta let it go because it's detrimental to like that lady can like if she shows up for 5 years and let's just say I don't want to wish this on anybody but something happens to her and then this chimp like has grown such an attachment that he won't socialize with anybody else, then it's detrimental to the rest of the chimp's life, and a human kind of knows better than a chimp, so you kind of have to walk away for that chimp to have a better life. It might hurt in the beginning, but in the end, I think it's going to be great for the chimp in the long run.
Did you say it already, or does it say how often she went?
She weekly for 4 years.
She got that zoo membership.
I'm always wondering who got that zoo membership.
My mom, we did growing up.
Why?
Because we went to the zoo.
Why?
You just go a few times, you get your money's worth.
I don't get why. We bought passes to like Six Flags. We didn't even use those.
We did. I think. Did we buy them twice?
I don't know, but same thing with Universal Studios. I went like once. I'm like, I'm good for 4 years. Sorry, I'm not an amusement park guy.
Yeah.
Are you? Are you a zoo amusement park?
Oh, I've been wanting to go to the zoo for a while, but really just to take my little.
I want to go on a safari,
nieces and
not the
nephew.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. I feel like you do it for children. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the zoo. Zoo's great. Everyone loves the zoo.
Well,
once I see a hippo, I'm good. I have YouTube. I could see a hippo like crush a melon at the flip of a switch, and
you can see how fast they swim
or attack a human.
You've seen that, right? The video of them swimming super fast.
Oh yeah, they're crazy. They're so scary.
Yeah.
But when I go to the zoo, I gotta hope that the hippo's out, and then if it's not, I gotta wait around and be like, oh, we'll come back, and then like the peacocks are sleeping, and then like the ferrets are doing ferret shit. The ferrets at the zoo. It doesn't matter. Anyway, enough of the monkey business. What's up next on the news stories?
So my last story is a heartwarming one. It starts off a little rough, though.
Oh, no.
So there was an 83-year-old woman in Cornwall, England. I guess she was pretty active in her neighborhood because there was a day where she wasn't around for like an hour, and her neighbors got nervous and were like, where'd
They always keeping tabs on Gladys.
Where'd Gladys go?
Mm-hmm.
And
if you don't see Gladys for 5 minutes, you're like, what the fuck's going on? She's always waving at the random cars in the driveway. You stand in the driveway and you wave at the cars.
Maybe she waves at the chimpanzee at the zoo.
Oh, they don't let her in no more.
So, couldn't find this woman, and the neighbors ended up calling like the police to come search for her, and one of them found a cat meowing, and it just wouldn't stop meowing where it was. And
Oh,
turns
Gladys
out,
is a cat now.
turns out Gladys was 70 feet down a ravine,
Oh.
hanging out in a stream of some kind.
Oh, no.
And her cat, her black cat,
Oh.
was up at the top meowing. And that's how they were able to find her.
Kind of like a Lassie situation, right?
Mm-hmm, exactly. Gladys fell down.
Not
a
an
ravine.
not an old Yeller situation.
No, not Old Yeller.
No. That's
Yeah.
just shotgun and sadness. Lassie's like good. Gladdy fell down the welly.
Exactly.
Okay.
But anyway, she's fine. She's all right. They took her into the hospital. She's stable.
Did you know if she has anything broken? Is she fine? I mean, is she actually fine, or is she just like one of the situations where she couldn't stand back
It says
up?
they lifted her up the ravine on a stretcher and flew her to a hospital in an air ambulance. So I assume that means
she might have had some breakage. Something.
helicopter. She's in stable condition. So yeah, she probably broke something. I mean,
What was she
70
doing
feet
up
down?
by the ravine?
I don't know. She was just,
There's like a dead body next to her. She's dumping it. She's like, oh no.
just the feet of a dead body.
Just in Nikes. in crepes, as they say in the UK.
crepes.
Sweet crepes, bruv.
I mean, what?
It's sneakers in like slang terms.
I don't know about that.
Jared made me watch a shit ton of videos of a guy reviewing chicken wings in the UK, and he kept talking about like, got my crepes on. They say that.
Okay.
You just don't watch the shows where they talk about sneakers. I watch the shows where they
No,
talk
they're
about
not wearing sneakers on Love Island, UK.
Yeah, you're right. So, anyway, I think we're caught up on any of the weird news you may have missed. We should just get into these stories that we got for you. Or, I should say, story. But it's a good one, and I really enjoyed writing this one. So, let's get into it. Now, Katie. Oh, hit the mic. Shit. Now, Katie. Sometimes when we talk about serial killers, there are some facts that just become larger than life concerning these monsters, as time gets further and further away from their crimes. Sometimes these factoids become so deeply ingrained in these legends that it is hard to separate fact from fiction, especially in the case that I am about to speak of today. Now to be the first one. There's my first mess up. David's laughing. So now to be the first or last of something is a big deal. We obviously still speak of big firsts, like who discovered America? Leif Erikson, Chris Columbus, the people who lived here long before both of them? It's still argued today. And as for last, well, we still all remember the disappointing last episodes of The Sopranos, Seinfeld. I digress, really. All I'm saying is that first and last are a big deal. If you're not first, you're last. So today, I want you to discuss fact and fiction surrounding the alleged first serial killer of Portugal and last to be hanged in Portugal, the Aqueduct Killer, Diogo Alves.
Oh, so he's a first and a last.
He's a first and a last, but
Look at him.
we're going to have to separate fact from fiction with all these, larger than life things going on in his life. So we'll get into it. So Diogo Alves was born in a small town in Galiza in 1810, but moved to Lisbon as a young boy, forced to wander the streets in extreme poverty. Since Diogo, and it's not Diego, it's Diogo, Diogo. Diogo. Since Diogo was so young, it was hard for him to find a skilled or heavy labor job, as he was unskilled and not strong or big enough for hard labor. What Diogo did end up finding, though, was a job as a servant for a wealthy family, which sustained him for the majority of his life. I mean,
He's making the best of a bad situation. He found a job.
I know it sucks so much too, as I'm about to talk about it right now. When people are like, "Oh, like I don't have money," and they're like, "Oh, your job is to help me with all of my money." You're like, "Oh, cool." I'm just reminded that you live in extravagance, and I have to help you live in extravagance. Like,
That's kind of.
that's all rich people.
I was just gonna say that's like when you work and your boss is making a lot more money than you. Maybe you're doing your boss's job.
Oh yeah, I just listened to an NPR thing where they said like rich people make more jobs for people. I'm like, oh, don't make them good, don't make them good. So Diogo was grateful for the job and the money that came with it, but to serve a wealthy family is to also be reminded every single day of what you don't have and will never have. Oh, I don't like saying we'll never have, but maybe, but not in 1810 Portugal where you're just like trying to survive.
1810 was the first serial killer in Portugal.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
So I mean, borders are arbitrary. They could have been
When
over
did
in
Portugal
Spain.
become a country?
You're asking the wrong guy.
I'll do a little
Probably
search.
a long time ago. So this obviously ate at Diogo until he finally had to do something about it. Diogo wanted as much money as he could make with little work and in a small amount of time. So of course he began to rob people. I think that's the dream, right? As much money as we can make with little work and in a small amount of time. That's the American dream. That's the Portugal dream.
Just
Portuguese.
fact-checked when Portugal
Uh-huh.
was founded.
Ooh, 1143.
1143.
Okay, so they had and here's the thing too. People were just killing each other and no one, you'd have to write it in a journal and not lose that journal. Be like, found a guy stabbed to death, found another guy stabbed to death. It just wasn't reported. So, it's all first documented serial killer, you can say that. But like I said, Diogo began to rob people. Diogo found his targets in the form of travelers staying at local taverns and hotels. Diogo's lover, Gertrudis Maria, I believe her name is Maria Gertrudis, but I think it's a little backward situation, owned a tavern in Palhava, and this is where he found his first gold mine, as he would falsify and copy keys, allowing him to break into rooms and steal goods without ever being seen. Because as we know, taverns used to also be places where you can get a room for the night. You get a bath. It's just kind of like where people stop to take a load off, have a drink.
Right.
Be pretty cool. I feel like it would help with a lot of those DUIs out there.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's kind of a good deal.
Yeah, somebody's so blackout drunk at the bar. I mean, you're not supposed to overserve like that, but it happens. And then someone's like, I'll just take a room for the night.
Plus, if they got an open tab, you just charge the room. Boom.
You get somebody so drunk, you drag them up, put them in a bed. You're like, cool, got $250 for the night. That was cool. That was very. But there's puke and shit all over the room. Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah.
There's a point to be made.
But
there.
if they have open tab, I mean, you just keep charging them.
Exactly. I charge by the ounce, so of puke and poo. So Diogo knew that this could only last so long before the tavern began to obtain a reputation that would dry up business. So Diogo not only pivoted to a new form of robbery, but also a new form of anonymity in the form of murder. So, what are you confused about?
I'm just trying to put it together in my head. And he became more anonymous.
Well, because he was anonymous
killing people?
Yeah, because people would leave their rooms and
And be like, the last guy I saw was this dude.
Well, who would tell on him? His girlfriend was running the tavern. He was like, oh, I'm gonna make a copy of that key. So they have the key. They left to go do something. I break into the room, steal their shit. They never even saw anybody go in or out, except for my girlfriend who's in on it. And
she's in on it? That's confirmed?
Yeah, yeah, she's in on it. So he was just like, how do I? And also, if you do that so many times, they're gonna be like, oh, yeah, don't go to that tavern. All your shit goes missing.
Don't get don't check into that tavern because you'll die. Sounds like also maybe not good.
Well,
I guess
he's not
dead men tell no tales.
Well, he's not doing it at the tavern. So
their stuff's there, right?
Well,
okay. Anyway, sorry.
Where's
go ahead.
Where's your money when you walk around? It's in your pockets.
Yeah, but you leave your things. Maybe they got a safe.
Well, there's trinket robbery, and then there's money robbery. There's a lot of different forms of robbery, Katie. You got to expand the mind.
All right.
Also with murder, just think of more ways to murder people. So, while Diego worked as a servant, he would sometimes get reassigned to different houses, and one house in particular gained his interest. Well, not the house per se, but the location of the house. You see, the house he was now working at was next to the Aqueducto das Agua Libres,
Beautiful.
which was an 11-mile aqueduct. The Aqueducto das Aguas Libres is a historical aqueduct in the city of Lisbon built in the 18th century. As some of us know, an aqueduct is a watercourse constructed to carry water from a source to a distribution point far away. In modern engineering, the term aqueduct is used for any system of pipes, ditches, canals, tunnels, and other structures used for this purpose. So Granny fell in the aqueduct, kind
You say
of.
aqueduct, it's not aqueduct.
It's not pronounced aqueduct. I think that's kind of like something I could be wrong, but it's spelled aqueduct. I think I have a lot of problems with some rappers just to make the word rhyme. They say aqueduct and they say guillotine, and I disagree with both of those. It's guillotine and aqueduct.
Okay.
So, I'll obviously you could tell I've thought about this, but it's spelled Aqueduct, aqueduct. So, like I said, you guys know what an aqueduct is. I ain't gotta explain it to you. This particular aqueduct looked more like a bridge, though, with large arches holding up the stone structure and a water canal constructed atop. This particular aqueduct was so well built that it survived a 9.0 earthquake in 1755 that destroyed much of the city of Lisbon and other parts of Portugal, while also surviving a 66-foot tsunami that killed over 10,000 people. Because as you guys know, when there's an earthquake, there is also sometimes a tsunami, especially when it is a 9.0 earthquake, which is gigantic.
Yikes.
That's, I think the scale only goes to 10, right? I don't know, actually.
I'm not sure.
I think the one in San Francisco was like a 6.5. You know, the Great San Francisco earthquake, maybe 7 something, but 9.0 is like...
Well, down here we talk about the Northridge earthquake in 94.
No. That one's not notable.
Yours, I don't
Mine
know
was, because it was so long ago, but I think half the city burned down, and then they just toppled all of the shit, and then they rebuilt on top of all the toppled buildings. It was when was it? You looking up? Oh, it doesn't matter.
Earthquakes of magnitude 10 or larger cannot happen. The largest one ever was 9.5.
Holy shit. Okay, so yeah, this was a biggie. But it's okay because this story is not about earthquakes. So that's just a fun fact. You guys learned about earthquakes a little bit today. So, starting in 1836 and using a key he was able to falsify and copy, he was good at that, Diogo would go hide and wait up on the top of the tall aqueduct for travelers to pass along the top headed into town. You see, most of these travelers were farmers and merchants, which Diogo saw as a bigger opportunity for large amounts of money. Because obviously they were going to be selling stuff. They were going to, be bringing money into town because you got to have change. I don't want to buy 2 radishes. I want 1 radish. Oh, that's a nickel. Give me half nickel.
2 nickel.
2 nickel. So inside joke. Sorry, guys. Like I said, these merchants and farmers most likely had money. Once a traveler would start across the top of the bridge like aqueduct, Diogo would surprise them by robbing them blind and then, with a little nudge, sending them to their death as they fell from the 60-meter-high stone structure. So if you guys don't know, the aqueduct was 60 meters high or 200 feet, which is equivalent to falling off the roof of a 15-story building.
Woo!
Yeah. So there was also something that he said where I read another story that said that he would rob people and then put a blindfold around them and then bring them up there and then push them off. But that kind of doesn't really make sense.
Is that what robbing them blind means?
I don't know. Give me your eyeballs. No, but if he did do that, then he definitely took the blindfold off right before he pushed them. Because if they found a bunch of people below with blindfolds on, they'd be like,
play.
Exactly. So it looks kind of weird, Not everybody could have that idea.
But also, did fish bite their ankles once they were in the water?
The fish have always liked ankles, even in 1810. But like I was saying, you might be like, oh, well, there's one person with the blindfold on. That's fine. You know, when you commit suicide, jump off a bridge, you might not want to like see the ground come in, or you're too scared, so you have the blindfold on. But it was said that Diogo killed over 70 people in the span of 3 years.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Those are major numbers.
But you may be asking, why did he not get caught way sooner? Well, the police were aware of the deaths, but they did not assume them to be murders, but instead suicides, since that was the most common place for one to commit such an act, and the country was going through a political and economic crisis. So there's like, oh yeah, people are having a tough time. Lower income people are just jumping off this bridge.
Oh.
Yeah, so they kind of were just like,
Good cover.
I know, it's kind of smart. I mean, obviously, he thought this through. But although the police did not suspect murder, they were concerned about the amount of dead bodies all showing up at the same location in such a short period of time. So what they did do was close the aqueduct so no one could travel on it for the time being. Yes, Diogo still had a key to sneak onto the aqueduct through a secret entrance, but what good is a secret robbing hideout if there's no one to rob? So he had to pivot again to a new form of robbery. And actually, the aqueduct actually remained closed for many decades because of his actions.
Whoa.
So they're just like, it's going to stay closed because we can't trust that somebody's not going to start doing that again. It's just like, I know it sounds messed up, but it's too easy of a way to murder somebody. You know what I mean? Give me all your money, and then here you go, and then there's like push. Like,
how annoying would that be if that was like your route to work or something, and then like,
whoa, a route? That's a route.
Mm.
Oh, this is a relationship.
You say
like,
Route
yeah.
66.
Well, there's like Caribbean and Caribbean.
Exactly.
I mean, I sing Route 66. I say, which route are you going? Which route are you going?
Yeah, if you say it one way, why can't we say it the other way?
You say crayons or crayons?
Crayons.
That's gross. Crayons are berries. Crayons are writing utensils. Cranberries. Crayons.
Oh, I didn't put that together.
That's my thing I always say, you know. They go pillow, or milk or milk.
Oh, I don't do those ones.
Me neither, really. I just say pillow, milk.
Well, you know my one.
Mountain. You going to climb up that mountain?
I've gotten better at it.
Yeah, she has. Yeah, because I ridicule her every time we climb up the mountain. So, like I said, my boy got to pivot again because he's just pushing people and now no people to push. So, Diogo ended up forming a gang to hit private residents in Lisbon, which they would rob and murder the people inside. Diogo did this I think there's 4 people in the gang as well. And Diogo did this for a while and even included his lover Maria in the gang. So like I said, she was in it from the start. She's like, I love you. I love that you're a degenerate that steals from people. And then he's like, oh. And
she's a business owner.
Business lady. Dating a businessman. It's all business. Right. Do you think he pushed him? He's like, it's strictly business. And they went, no, it's not. Wait, you didn't take the blindfold off. When's the ground? He didn't know when the ground was coming.
Well, I don't know if were they like
15...
handcuffed? They could have taken the blindfold off themselves.
Oh, you know when you're falling from a rooftop, from a bridge, and your first thing is to grab the blindfold? I guess you would grab the blindfold.
I feel like you might.
Yeah. It's futile. Why even do it? Die with a mystery. Be like, why was he wearing a blindfold? The blindfolded bandit fell off the bridge.
Also, if he hits the water, I feel like the blindfold's coming off.
Okay, so like the situation going on down there was not really strictly water. It was a river, but there was like land on either. Like the aqueduct was 11 miles long. Oh. So when you're falling off, they're most likely not hitting water. They're
like
probably
the LA
hitting
River.
Land. Exactly. So it kind of, it wasn't that soft. People were like, oh, how about a pistol dive? There's like, oh, you would not risk off like a water bridge that was 200 feet. You know, people can survive. People have survived that, and they go and tell on you. You gotta make sure they're hitting land. So, like I said, 4 people in the gang, and he even had his wife or girlfriend Maria. I don't know if they were married. I think they were married, which became, of course, the gang became a well-oiled murderous machine. And this was until about a year into their activities, because you can't sustain just like, I don't know. It's not how high is the Golden Gate Bridge? I saw you looking it up. I'm gonna guess 400 feet, honestly.
740.
Whoa.
No, there's the towers. Ugh. I hate when you like look something up specific and then it gives you the wrong answer. Okay.
Yeah. I'll keep looking. I'll keep telling the
there.
story. Okay. So.
220 feet. So yeah, it's about the same.
Yeah. Okay. It's like jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. There we go. And no water. So. Wow, that seems so much higher now. When I said 15-story building, it didn't seem that high. And when I say Golden Gate Bridge, it seems really high. Wow. Anyway, so, like I said, about a year into their breaking in and murdering people, they slipped up. Because one night, while breaking into a local doctor's home, the gang found 4 family members inside and began to tie them up before robbing them and killing them. But fortunately, the police heard the disturbance and showed up, arresting the entire gang.
Well, not fortunately for Diogo.
No, but he's the anti-hero. He's Walter White. We're like, did we want him to live? Is he kind of bad guy? A lot of people died because of him, and I don't even know why we're rooting for him in the first place. A lot of poor, people don't have money that need money, and we don't go kill people. Do we, Katie?
No, we do not.
Definitely not. Don't check our aqueduct. We live near one. Let's go. We could do it. So it was said that Maria's 11-year-old daughter actually testified in court against her mother, and her mother, Diogo, and the rest of the gang, corroborating the suspicions of the previous robberies and murders that the police believed the gang was responsible for. So she's like, yeah, I saw them plan a bunch of stuff, and they brought a bunch of stuff back, and blah, blah, blah. And it was also said that Maria was, I don't know if this is true, because I read one where they said all of them were just hanged, and then this said I read another one that said it was also said that Maria was then sent to a lifelong exile to the Portuguese African colonies, but that the rest of them met their demise at the end of a rope. So some of the legends that surround Diogo are just untrue in the end, though. See, Diogo and his buddies did hang in February of 1841, so he was 21.
That was 30 years late. Wait, I thought it was 1810.
Oh, you're right. He was 31. You're right.
What?
It was 1810. He was born in 1810.
He was born then?
Yeah. So he was.
When it started.
No. So he was 31 when he died.
Okay.
Like I said, they did hang in 1841, but he was not the last to hang in Portugal, as the country hanged about a dozen more people before doing away with the practice in 1876. So
he wasn't really the last.
He wasn't the last. I don't know why he got that moniker, because he's probably one of the big lasts. Again, many regard Diogo as the country's first serial killer, or recorded serial killer, as we like to say. But again, that simply isn't the case. A woman named Luisa de Jesus, who admitted to poisoning 28 children, is the first recorded serial killer in Portugal, who was whipped, hanged, and burned in the streets of Lisbon for her crimes in 1772.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't poison children. Okay, that's the rule. That's the rule, and we all follow it.
I wish I knew more about about her story.
Oh, maybe no, that's not what I'm gonna cover. No. I told Katie that there's a piggyback episode that I maybe wanted to do off of this topic, and we're about to get to it. Because although these urban legends may be false, there is one that surprisingly did remain true all the years. You see, at the time, phrenology was a popular pseudoscience that consisted of measurements of bumps on the skull to predict mental traits, and is based on the concept that the brain is the organ of the mind, and that certain brain areas have localized, specific functions or modules. We know this to be somewhat true nowadays, as certain parts of the brain are associated with different functions. But what they believed was that the brain acted as a muscle that grew larger in certain parts of the brain, like if you were more violent, kind, depressed, etc. And they would sometimes measure. They would think that your brain got bigger, like if you were more violent, like that part of the brain. or like kind, like a very happy person, their happy part of the brain would be larger because you work it out like a muscle and it gets bigger. And they would sometimes measure a violent person's skull to check if the violent part of the brain grew large enough to push out the skull. So if your muscle gets bigger, your skull gets a little deformed, whether you be violent, happy, depressed, whatever's going on. So when Diogo died, they lopped off his head and shoved it into a jar of formaldehyde so that they could study it further. It's really not clear if the doctors did in fact study the skull or if they just left it just the way it was the day of the execution. But to this day, Diogo Alves' head still sits fully intact, floating in a jar with an expressionless face at the Faculty of Medicine of Lisbon University. Did you Google it?
Sorry.
Were you not paying attention?
I really got hung up on this lady that killed a bunch of kids.
Oh, don't look that up. This is I cannot watch a movie with this woman. She's like, I know that lady, and then all of a sudden she's like on a rabbit hole. She's down a rabbit hole of every movie that like Kara Sedgwick has been in. Like, I don't. Did you hear? They lopped off this guy's head.
I heard that part, and they put it in like a jar.
Formaldehyde.
And
now I want you to Google the picture.
No.
Why? You got to look it up. I mean, we're obviously gonna post it on Instagram, but like I said, his head sits in a jar of formaldehyde with an expressionless face. Yeah, Diogo Alves. Click that. Click it.
Oh, it says Alves.
Click
you
it.
Said Alvarez.
Oh, I don't want the Wikipedia article.
Well, then why'd you click it?
Anyways, because I want you to see his head. You need to see his head. Look at that thing. Look at it. That's it. Has hair.
Okay, first of all, it's insane. But my first
Xbox just turned on.
Oh my god, that's so weird.
Diogo did that. He like, I might be ahead, but I still like Xbox.
Anyway, it gave me oh gosh, what's his name? Is it Michael Myers?
Oh, Michael Myers with the mask.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which really means
It looks like fucking Kirk, Captain Kirk. What's his name?
Oh god.
Shatner. Shatner face.
William Shatner.
Spray painted Shatner face. We got Shatner's head in a jar, but he looks like a Futurama character. And like I said, it is still said that to this day, if you listen really closely while on campus, you can hear sounds coming from where Diogo's head is located on campus. And some have said that if you walk into the classroom late at night, you could hear a sucking noise. And as you turn the corner, you see the janitor kissing Diogo ever so gently while sharing a spaghetti dinner for two.
Oh, God.
I made that last part up. You don't really hear noises coming from Diogo's head, but I mean, what a head in a jar. I mean, right? Like, what a crazy fucking thing.
And it's still there. It's been 176 years. One of the things I looked at says, so that might not. Oh, that's as of 4 years ago. So
he still
180 years.
He still looks like if you took the head out, it would clearly fall apart in seconds.
But like, you throw some makeup on him, and he looks
pretty,
like he's alive.
Kind of pretty, actually.
Maybe like some fake tan.
Kind of like I'm a janitor. You want a spaghetti?
But yeah, the hairs, the eyeballs.
The eyeballs, the eyelids. He's just expressionless. He's just a head in a jar.
No eyebrows, but a little bit of facial hair.
Well, he has blonde hair. There might be.
He was blonde.
I mean, I think your hair just kind of falls out over time, like over like his like eyebrows and stuff. Like, okay, so I held a brain.
When I'm looking at this, I'm just pretending it's not an actual human being because otherwise I'd be really disturbed.
I know, but here's the thing. So my science teacher in high school, my anatomy teacher, that exact jar, she had a human brain in it, and she passed human brain.
Oh, and
she passed that. I don't know. She got it. She killed somebody. But I mean, that's what, like, some skeletons are real skeletons, you know. Like, skeletons used to be made out of real skeletons, like real people. So if you go to if you find a really old skeleton hanging in a classroom, probably at like Harvard or like any of those like Ivy League schools, all their skeletons are probably real people.
I just really don't want like 13-year-olds just staring at my brain in a jar.
Why? You wouldn't even know.
Or
that's your legacy.
Would I?
Oh.
But then there'd be like one little punk kid that would come up with a pencil and just stab me in the brain.
You're not using it.
You don't know that.
I mean,
You don't know what happens.
I mean, it's worse. It's worse for like Rasputin because they say that his penis is in a jar. It's a big penis apparently. But,
oh yeah.
But people think it's
Wait. Is it like just hard?
No. No, it's just like in a jar of formaldehyde. I gotta get back to the brain thing, but it's in a jar of formaldehyde. But some people think it's a bovine penis instead.
Oh. Yeah.
People were like stealing it and stuff like that, and like these gypsy ladies were just like they thought it was like fertile and stuff like that, and were like so they stole it and they're like probably drinking bovine penis juice. But who knows? It might be real. I don't know what's going on. But like I said, the brain. They passed it around in a jar, and we held the jar, and I like held it in my hands, and they said like don't move it around too much because if you move it around too much, the dead cells on the outside will sheath off, and like it'll.
Don't say sheath after just talking about a penis.
What? It's a brain now.
What?
Is sheath bad for penis?
No, isn't it like the outside? I feel like that's like what they say about like my sister had a male
what
horse.
is going on?
Okay.
I mean, it might be, but guys just have them. We don't research them. We just know how they work a little bit, But they just said don't move it around too much because all the dead cells will fall off and like cloud the water, and like the brain will get smaller if like you do that. It's crazy. It's so weird. But just as also a little bonus to the end of the story, if you ever find yourself at the Faculty of Medicine of Lisbon University, a second skull, a clean skull used for phrenology purposes, can be found just up the hall, which belonged to Francisco Matos Lobo, a man who murdered a family of 4 before throwing their dog out the window just 1 year after Diogo's execution. So this skull they used for phrenology, I don't know, purposes as well. But this skull is fully cleaned. It's a skull. It's not like a head in a jar. So just like 2 murderers a year apart from each other, just chilling up the hall. Who? You think they look at each other and be like, "Who would have thought we got here? Who would
look at us?
Look
now.
at we're college guys. Look at us, we're college medicine guys. Oh, so yeah, they're both pieces of shit and just heads in jars now. But it's crazy. You don't want to be a brain in a jar, but at the end of the day, 180 years later, is anybody gonna be talking about your brain in the ground? No, might as well be a brain in a jar. Put my head in a jar. When I die, can you?
No.
That would be kind of sick, though. I wouldn't be offended.
Yeah, sick.
Sick and twisted, but that's my life. That should be my death. But fill it up with Kool-Aid.
What flavor?
Red.
Oh.
What flavor are you drinking?
You're drinking red flavor?
Well, I just mean you gotta bury me with the classics, right?
Mm.
And then every once in a while, and then they're gonna find a way to make me. They're gonna find a way to bring me back, and then everyone's gonna call me Kool-Aid guy because I'm not gonna remember my name. Kool-Aid guy.
It's like Buddy the Elf.
Exactly. So it's gonna be a fun time for when it eventually happens. So, Ted Williams, eat your heart out. I
don't get that reference.
He's a baseball player for the Red Sox, and he has his head cryogenically frozen.
What?
Similar to Walt Disney. Still is if they bring him back. You got a couple more swings in there. But I think he's a frozen head. Could be an urban legend, not sure. But Walt Disney is supposed to be the same way. So those guys did it. I just don't have the money. Formaldehyde's cheap, right? Jar's cheap.
I don't know if that's the same as cryogenic.
It's not. I'm not coming back from pickled head, but I'm just saying. Anyway, I think that's all the time we have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little different this time. Like I said, no outro music, but we'll make this quick and snappy. I just want to thank Katie for coming on and being a great news reader and an audience member.
Anytime.
And distract her as she started looking up another story I could have done.
I'm just quite a stickler for details. I love to learn more. I get what's it called? My little
your needle stuck.
My needle stuck.
There we go.
On something, and I just have to look it up.
Next up, penis sheaths. Okay.
I'll pass on that one.
She's mad. Anyway, but thank you guys so much for listening once again. I believe Dave will be back if he if he comes back from his mountain men days. I don't know.
Without a Bigfoot attack.
Oh yeah, the reason he went is because he said, if I'm marrying you, we gotta go hunt Bigfoot and have a threesome, and that's his cross to bear, not mine. So we'll ask him about it when he comes back. But if you guys want more information, check out Camp Strange Podcast on Instagram. And you could email us at campstrangepodcast@gmail.com. And if you go to our Instagram, click the link in bio. We have merch there. You could find out where to listen to us. We post pictures. I posted a lot of pictures today that I was backlogged on. And we have a nice, very nice picture with David, Gary, and I in the lovely state of Montana that you just have to go check out.
It's definitely a must-see. Also, the t-shirts on the merch site, softest t-shirts around.
Softest t-shirts around. You could sleep in them. You could be awake in them for the greatest.
What else can you do?
That's the main two things. Pickle your head in the t-shirt. You can't bring the t-shirt, but it's just a nice sentiment to know that you had the t-shirt on when they lopped off your head. Fun times. So anyway, we love you guys. Thank you. Katie, do you have anything to say before we head out?
Nope. My brain is still stuck on the head in the jar. I don't have anything else.
Your brain is in the jar.
My jar brain is stuck on head.
There we go.
Jar head. I was gonna say head brain.
Good movie, Jarhead. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and don't forget to stay strange.